Hey everybody, it's Professor Malat with the Week 12 overview. This week we are working on the Recast Project. um, so this video is actually for all three of my sections, not simply the online students. I'm out of the classroom this week, out of town this week, so my in-class students will be watching this video as well. So there are a couple of little different things between the online section and the in-person sections, but strangely enough, you are all working on the same thing at the same time. So I did my planning accordingly. This week, as I said, we're working on the Recast project in earnest. You're diving deep. You're getting your draft ready for peer review. So there are some project examples from previous UC English 1001 students, as well as some recasts and remediation projects from other colleges and other universities. So in the checklist, we have review the readings and media, right? So take a look at the readings, take a look at any lectures and media that might be linked. And there's also an extensive list of optional materials that I highly encourage you to take a look at, because all of those things are provided to help you to get through this multimodal type of project. We also have a week 12 short write, Recast Reflections, which is just looking at that recast rationale and answering some questions regarding that, as well as the Recast Project peer review draft. I do want to look at some of the things that I provided for you. You will see this Recast Project examples is linked in 3 places, which tells you that it's something that I really want you to make sure you take a look at. So let's take a look at the Recast Project examples page. This is a page that I created a few years ago for this class, and I add and delete information as it, if there's a video on YouTube that suddenly goes away because the student doesn't want it up there anymore, then I try to update the links as much as possible. I think all of these are up to date. There's actually 2 new things that I found, a couple of new examples. The first is a list of research remediation projects from Miami University. This is their archive for English composition at Miami University, and you can click on each of these and they'll show you different types of multimodal things. So this one is an infographic where you can see how they have kind of recasted their research into something that is nice and visual. They also include a note from the instructor as well as a writer's reflection and works cited. So I think this is a really fantastic resource. It shows you several different types of things. This one's a video, another infographic, lots of infographics here, several video problems. Let's see what this one is. Oh, this one is an artistic project. So they made a collage with some quotes and other things in there to recast their research. Let's see, anything else? Well, you guys can all look through it on your own. I excuse my voice, it's a little funky today because I'm getting over some kind of sinus thing. The other the other option, or the other example here, is a PSA poster that says stop overfishing. So if you take a look here, you can see how this student, this is their original paper, their research, and then this is the public service announcement poster that they created. So again, this looks like a very professional document, and that's really what we're trying to go after here in this recast project. So let's go back and take a look at the actual assignment, the peer review draft assignment. This might look a little bit different. I know there was a student or 2 who already got a head start on this assignment. That's fantastic. I love that you're working ahead. So this looks slightly different for my in-person students. It's almost the same, but the wording is a little bit different, but the idea behind it is still the same. So up at the top, I have this research recast project requirements page. This is essentially a rubric. Sorry. It's essentially a rubric to help you understand the requirements for the various genres that you might be able to do in this project. You will see here information that's highlighted regarding your draft. You should try to get about half of the work done at least. If you're doing any kind of audio visual work, you need to provide an outline, a script, or a storyboard, some kind of organizing principle that shows how your presentation will come together. Other visual alternatives, a draft would include something like a page layout with or without final images, sketches, so on and so forth. Again, I want to see how your plan is going to come together. For audio alternatives, drafts would include such things as lyrics, lists of potential songs, maybe some rough notes for information that you want to include on the songs, that kind of thing. For those of you who are opting to do some kind of a teaching unit, an acceptable draft might be just answering these questions above. This will help you to brainstorm and to plan accordingly. You might also want to provide a list of possible resources or activities that you may use in that teaching unit, and perhaps even a rough plan based on this template that's provided. Of course, it can change because, you know, that's what happens when we revise things and edit things. But the idea here is to have forward momentum in this project, and have some kind of draft that somebody else can provide comments on. So again, let's go back to the assignment page. I am so sorry about my voice. So the key requirements, of course, it's a remix. You're going to transform your original source or your original research into a new medium or genre of your choice, such as a video, podcast, so on and so forth. We have a list here below. You want to think about your audience, have a clearly defined target audience, and tailor that remix to their interests, needs, and knowledge level. So if you're doing something geared towards adults, you're definitely going to tailor the message differently than if it was something that you were presenting to children, right? Analysis, you want to provide a written reflection that explains your remix process, the choices that you made, and how your work addresses the original source's content in a new and meaningful way. Additionally, you want to think about your purpose, why you're doing what you're doing. Creativity, don't be afraid to experiment with different forms and styles to create a dynamic and engaging remix. And of course, properly cite all of your sources. So when we do these types of things, these multimodal projects, you're developing critical thinking, researching, and creative skills while exploring potential academic and career paths. For your submissions, try to have a working title, give a brief description of the original text for those of you who are working with researched arguments. Just summarize what your argument was. You don't have to go into great detail. For those of you in the in-person class, just provide a reminder for me of what you're doing, a brief summary of your rationale or explanation of the project, just 2 to 3 sentences, provide a little bit of content, and of course, some kind of works cited list. You can do this as a separate document. Depending on your chosen project and genre, you could also submit a link to your project, a document, or a media file, so we have access to your work in progress. There will be a requirement for peer review, just one person, by Wednesday, November 20th. So this is due on the 17th, Sunday the 17th, with a quick turnaround. Actually, I think I'm gonna change that date. I think peer review is just gonna be completed that week before Thanksgiving. I don't have a separate peer review assignment for this, but you'll receive a point for completing peer review as part of the assignment. Here is the rubric with a spelling error. I hate when I'm in a rush to do things and I don't take a look at any kind of mistakes I made with editing there. That's taken care of. So you'll get points for your working title, description, summary, if you do a peer review, and if there's content. So 10 points for all of that. So that's that assignment. And again, the other short write assignment due on the 17th is taking a look at this recast rationale and answering the following questions. So how does the writer address their choice of medium, purpose, context, and audience? How does the writer's ethos come across? How does the writer appeal to their audience? Discuss other possible choices the writer could have made. What could they have done differently in regards to their medium, purpose, context, or audience? And then I want you to think about how you might employ some of these techniques in your own project. Do you think your message may be more effective with a different choice of medium, purpose, context, or audience? And that can be done as a text entry or as a file upload. And again, that will be due Sunday, November 17th. Let's take a look at the list of, it seems like it's ever growing, the list of optional materials. So again, we have that Recast Project examples page. There are also a couple of learning modules on multimodality and visual arguments. These are both really interesting things. So I highly encourage, if you have the time for you to take a look at it. Then there are some other things dealing with how to do different types of things. One is how to design an award-winning poster. There's a Purdue OWL has several resources on visual rhetoric that can be helpful for your recast. And then there's a couple of videos on YouTube on this unique style of presentation called Pechakucha. I'm not going to explain it here because my voice is really giving out, but it's an interesting idea. Essentially, you just have 20 seconds per slide and you have, I don't know, 10 to 15 slides, I think, to get this very quick presentation. It is extremely visually oriented with very little text on each slide. The objective here is that you are talking through quickly each of the points for each slide. So you get a very quick presentation in a short amount of time. So that is it for week 12. Again, this is my online page. So for my in-person students who are watching this video, everything still looks the same in your week 12 module. Just the wording for the assignment is a little bit different. Let's take a look at that. As you'll see here, it's a little bit different because you're taking a slightly different approach and you are using your sources with this. So please make sure to include your sources as well, but everything is due on the 17th. If you have any questions, you know how to get in contact with me. Have a fantastic week, everybody. Bye-bye.